episode of My Hero Academia. All Might reveals his true form, and Izuku Midoriya learns the true meaning of being a real superhero. All Might is all light. His true form when revealed in this week's episode is honestly pretty damn shocking. It was kind of hard to tell from the very first episode when you saw that All Might was transforming into a much larger being, but when you see his true form in this episode, it is shocking. He basically turns into this super skinny, emaciated version of himself who's extremely angular and very weak and puny. Not only that, but his personality completely changes from being a super stereotypical westernized superhero and turning into this extremely profound and blunt superhero who basically lets Izuku know immediately, well, if you don't have any sort of power, you really shouldn't be a superhero. Maybe you should try being a cop. And that's when he decides to ditch town. Unfortunately for him, he realizes that he doesn't have those soda bottles which are filled with a booger monster anymore, because during mid-flight when Izuku was holding on to All Might's leg, those things fell to the ground. And who runs into them but Katsuki Bakugo, who seems to be the next evolution of the legendary anime douchebag Gary Oak. So this massive sludge monster decides to escape, and it's going to capture Katsuki Bakugo to use him as a hostage, and of course to steal his powers to blow shit up. That's when we get to see the return of a lot of really interesting characters, like Death Arms, the big strong guy. We get Backdraft, the firefighter superhero who looks really cool in this episode with his multiple water cannons, as well as the return of Kamui the Wood Ninja and Mount Lady. These heroes, while they are awesome and have some amazing designs, do have some glaring problems in the fact that they actually can't take down this sludge monster, and they can barely fight within the area at all. I mean, take a look at Kamui the Wood Ninja. Since his powers revolve around wood, he can't get up close and fight this guy because there's fire all over the place. He'll catch fire and die. And then you got Mount Lady, whose powers are to transform into a giant. The area is too small for her to operate in, and she'd destroy way too much shit. You got Death Arms, who's super powerful, can't punch through the sludge, and then of course you got Backdraft, who seems to only be good at dousing flames. There's also this one random bird dude who has like this chicken mask. I don't know what the deal is with this guy, but he jokingly says at the end of the episode that he wants Katsuki Bakugo to be his sidekick, and I don't think that's something that he would want at all. Then again, Katsuki Bakugo seems to hate everyone except for himself. Even after being saved at the end of this episode, he's a total dickhead to Izuku. And that's when we arrive to the big action finale of this week's episode. You have Izuku Midoriya, who is just completely stewing in his failure, and then you have the emaciated All Might, who's making his way to the battlegrounds. Now, before we get to this battle, I just want to mention, they do go into some explanation as to why he actually has this weak and frail form in this episode. Apparently, 5 years ago, he fought with this villain who goes by the name of Toxic Chainsaw, which is such a cool sounding name. Kind of sounds like the name of like a metal band from the 1980s. I can't wait to see this Toxic Chainsaw guy. But apparently he damaged All Might so badly that not only did it leave a big massive scar on his side, but it completely destroyed most of his organs, including his stomach, and it causes him to transform into this super weak form. And only for like a little bit, like a couple hours a day when he tenses up his muscles, can he transform into All Might. And basically it's kind of like the whole Jekyll Hyde thing, except that both of his personalities are actually good. And this scene is also really cool because Izuku also notices all of the commotion and he realizes that his friend Katsuki has been captured. And then you have All Might as well, who is now beating himself up because basically he realizes what he told with this kid was completely wrong. And that's when you have this great scene where Izuku just decides to run into the fray without any sort of powers, without even thinking about it. His legs just move on his own. This way he can try and save his friend. A lot of the heroes jump in and they try to save the day, and that's when All Might makes his big entrance with blood constantly spewing from his mouth, risking it all and using his secret ability to take out this sludge monster in one attack, which is known as the Detroit Smash, which is basically this big downward punch which just completely obliterates this boogery monster. This scene is really awesome, and it also reaffirms that all of the attacks used by All Might are going to be named after states and cities from the United States. I mean, his entire hero persona in general takes a lot of inspiration from Western superheroes, and something about that is really funny. And of course, when he transforms in that form, he immediately goes back to that personality with the big smile on his face, and the attack is so powerful that not only does it obliterate just about everything in the area, but it actually manages to create a tornado, which changes the weather. Everything starts to rain right after that. It's a fantastic ending to a really great action scene. The episode comes to an end when All Might runs into Izuku Midoriya in the middle of the street, and he transforms back into his regular form, and he lets him know that he has shown him the light. He has reminded him what it truly means to be a hero, to be completely selfless, and that you don't necessarily need a superpower to become a superhero. He lets him know that he can one day become a hero, and this is still just the beginning of this arc, so I cannot wait to see how Izuku Midoriya is going to change into a hero as the series is going to go on. I can't wait to see if he's going to get his very own quirk, if he's going to go the Batman, Iron Man route, where he's going to use technology to be his friend. Maybe he's just not going to have any powers whatsoever, and he's going to be the ultimate sidekick. All I know is I'm interested to see how this character is going to grow and to learn a little bit more about the world of My Hero Academia. That intro has got me pumped up for all of those characters who are going to be appearing in the show, and they all have ridiculous outfits and I'm sure just as ridiculous quirks. So what's the rundown on this week's episode of My Hero Academia? Detroit Smasher! Yeah, this was another really great episode of My Hero Academia. There was a big hint to the fact that All Might was going to have a much weaker form in the previous episode, and they showed you that. I didn't expect it to be this extreme. His overall design is just so different and strange. I like the fact that his hair, which is all spiked up when he's All Might, just completely droops down and becomes super spiky, as does his body. He's incredibly angular looking, so different from All Might in just about every single way. I can't wait to learn a little bit more about All Might's backstory and how this is all going to tie into all of these other superheroes as well. And the rest of the episode was basically just some more by-the-numbers kick-ass superhero action, which honestly I really did enjoy a lot. A little disappointed they decided to bring Sludge Monster back for episode 2, but still, he was really creepy and awesome in this episode, especially all the scenes where he was like tying up and absorbing Katsuki Bakugo, especially how his face was sort of covering his. It kind of reminded me of like the Venom Eddie Brock symbiote from the Spider-Man comics, the way it looked, how it was sort of trying to take over his body. It looked really creepy, and there's a lot of great imagery with that, the dark lighting, and all of the bright fire, and all the heroes getting ready to fight against him. That was a really great, awesome action scene. I love how they're always sort of slowly introducing some brand new characters too, like that one chicken guy. But really, the real stars of this week's episode are, of course, Izuku Midoriya when he decided to save his friend Katsuki at the end, and All Might, who always delivers in just about every sense. He's such a really funny and over-the-top character, made perfectly for this anime series, and it's just gonna be funny every single time seeing him go from like his true form to his big buff super form, where basically he's just a super stereotypical hero. But I love seeing his attacks. They all basically are just really big powerful punches with a fancy name, but I just think that's really funny. There might be a little bit more to his powers, and I can't wait to see how that's going to go as the series evolves as well. But this was another fantastic episode of My Hero Academia, which, just like the first episode, manages to be action-packed, but also really funny at the same time. This series has some amazing characters with some great expressions, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that the character designs are very simple. They're not super detailed, but it allows them to be very expressive. I like to equate it to, say, The Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker, where you look at Link in that game compared to a Link in, say, like Twilight Princess. The one in Wind Waker is so much more expressive because of how simple he is, and you get a lot of that from characters like Izuku Midoriya, and especially from characters like All Might, who you can read exactly like a book in both of his forms. And yeah, this was just a fun episode of a really fun superhero anime series, so I liked this one a lot. It wasn't a perfect episode. I still think there's some shortcuts that they are taking in this anime series, and there are a few moments which could look better than others. That being said, this is a high-quality action anime series, which anybody who's a fan of superheroes or anime should definitely check out. So I'm going to give this episode right here a 4 out of 5. Check it out, My Hero Academia fans. You might see something you like. If any of you guys watched this week's episode of My Hero Academia, make sure to tell me what you thought about it in the comments section below. What did you think about the revelation behind All Might's power? And what do you think of the character of Izuku Midoriya? What type of powers do you think that he is going to gain as the series goes on? And what do you want to see from the rest of this brand new superhero anime series? Please tell me in the comments section below. You guys are pretty freaking awesome. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you would like to, please share this video with all of your friends and subscribe to the channel. That way you'll be able to see all of our latest anime and manga reviews as they are released. You guys should also check us out on Facebook and on Twitter, and you should take a look at our weekly podcast show, The Powerful Nerdcast. It could change your life. Check all that stuff out in the description box below. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, stay dandy, baby!